You have probably made coffee this morning. Maybe you did it before you were fully awake. Maybe the machine was already running before you sat down. Maybe you cannot remember the last time you thought about it at all, because making coffee is not something you think about. It is something you do. Dennis Crawford had made coffee every single morning for 41 years. He was 67 years old, a retired high school biology teacher from Charlotte, North Carolina. He was precise about his coffee. Same machine, same beans, same time every morning, 6:15, without fail. The coffee was ready before his wife Margaret came downstairs. He had owned his current coffee maker for 8 years. He descaled it once, maybe twice. He rinsed the carafe. He replaced the filter. He had never once cleaned the water reservoir. On a Monday morning in October, Dennis pressed the brew button the same way he had pressed it 10,000 times before. He poured the first cup before the cycle finished. He sat down at the kitchen table. 7 days later, Dennis Crawford was on a ventilator at Atrium Health Carolinas Medical Center. His lungs were filling with fluid. His temperature had reached 104.8 degrees Fahrenheit. He had been conscious when they brought him in. By the time they intubated him, he was not. And the bacteria that had done this had been growing inside his coffee maker for years. Here's the part that should keep you up tonight. Studies have found dangerous bacteria, including Legionella, Pseudomonas, and E. coli, in the water reservoirs of household coffee machines. In one study, more than half of the machines tested were contaminated. There is no official guideline telling you to clean yours. No warning label, no regulation, nothing. This is system failure. Dennis Crawford had spent 33 years teaching biology to teenagers who mostly did not want to learn it. He had been good at it anyway. Patient, methodical, the kind of teacher who believed that if you explained something precisely enough, it would eventually land. His students remembered him. Some of them had sent him messages when they heard what happened. He had retired at 64. Margaret had retired the same year. She had been a nurse for 30 years at the same hospital, where Dennis would later be admitted, which was a detail that would not escape either of them. Their mornings had a shape. Dennis up first, coffee made before 6:30, newspaper read before Margaret came downstairs. It had been that way for decades. The coffee was part of the structure of the day, the way the walls are part of the structure of a house. You do not notice them until something goes wrong. The coffee maker was a mid-range drip machine, the kind that sits on the counter and becomes invisible over time. He had bought it 8 years earlier when the previous one stopped working. He had no particular attachment to it. It made coffee. That was enough. He rinsed the carafe every morning. He replaced the paper filter. He kept the machine clean in the ways that were visible to him. The water reservoir was a different matter. It sat at the back of the machine, partially enclosed, partially translucent. He refilled it every day or two. He never looked inside. He had no reason to. Remember the moment he pressed the brew button on that Monday morning in October. We will come back to it. The water reservoir of a household coffee maker is one of the most contaminated surfaces in the average home. This is not speculation. It is the finding of multiple peer-reviewed studies. A 2011 NSF International Study of Household Germ Hotspots found coffee machine reservoirs to be among the top 5 most bacteria-laden surfaces in the home, ranking higher than bathroom door handles, light switches, and toilet seats. The reason is simple and almost elegant in how wrong it feels. You fill the reservoir with tap water. The machine heats that water to approximately 95 degrees Celsius to brew your coffee. That temperature kills the bacteria in the water that passes through the heating element. But the reservoir itself never gets that hot. The water in the reservoir sits at room temperature. The reservoir is dark. It is enclosed. It is rarely fully emptied, and it almost never dries out completely between uses. These are perfect conditions for bacterial growth. Legionella pneumophila, the bacterium responsible for Legionnaire's disease, thrives in exactly these conditions. Warm, stagnant water between 25 and 45 degrees Celsius. It does not grow in the boiling water that passes through your machine. It grows in the reservoir that holds the water before it gets there. Over weeks and months, Legionella and other bacteria form what microbiologists call a biofilm, a structured colony embedded in a protective layer that adheres to the inner surface of the reservoir. Biofilm is not removed by rinsing. It is not removed by the heat of brewing. It requires specific cleaning agents and consistent maintenance. Dennis had owned his machine for 8 years. He had never cleaned the reservoir. The biofilm in that reservoir had been building for 8 years. Every morning, when Dennis lifted the lid to refill the water, a fine mist of aerosolized water rose from the reservoir surface. He did not see it. No one does. But he breathed it in. And on a morning in October, the bacterial load in that reservoir had crossed a threshold. Here is what happens inside your lungs when you inhale Legionella pneumophila. The bacteria are small enough to bypass your upper respiratory defenses. They do not get caught in the hairs of your nose or the mucus of your throat. They travel directly into your lower airways, the bronchioles, the air sacs, the deepest tissue of the lung. There, they do something precise. They enter your immune cells, specifically your alveolar macrophages, the cells your body sends to destroy invaders in the lungs. In most bacteria, this would be the end. The macrophage would consume the bacterium and neutralize it. Legionella has evolved to survive inside macrophages. It hijacks the cellular machinery of the very cell designed to kill it and uses it as a protected environment to replicate. The macrophage cannot destroy the bacterium because the bacterium is now living inside it. As the bacterial population grows inside your macrophages, your immune system escalates its response. Fluid is sent to the lungs. Inflammation spreads through the tissue. More immune cells arrive. The bacteria infect those too. You develop a fever, a cough, chest pain that worsens with each breath. You feel like you are breathing through wet concrete. This is Legionnaire's disease. And in adults over 65, the mortality rate sits between 15 and 30%, even with aggressive antibiotic treatment. Without treatment, higher. Dennis's symptoms started on a Thursday. A headache first, which he attributed to not sleeping well. He took 2 ibuprofen and went about his morning. He made his coffee. He told Margaret he was tired. By Friday, he had a dry cough and a low fever, 99.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Margaret, a retired nurse, took his temperature twice and told him to call his doctor if it climbed. He said he would. He assumed it was a cold. By Saturday, the fever had reached 101. He had chest pain when he breathed deeply. He was not hungry. He slept most of the afternoon. Margaret called their family physician's answering service on Saturday evening. The on-call doctor said it sounded like a viral respiratory infection. He recommended rest, fluids, and over-the-counter fever reducers. If the fever went above 103, they should go to urgent care. On Sunday morning, Dennis told Margaret that breathing hurt. By Sunday afternoon, his fever was 103.2. Margaret drove him to urgent care. The physician listened to his lungs, heard crackling sounds in the lower left lobe, and ordered a chest X-ray. The X-ray showed a dense shadow in the lower left lung. Community-acquired pneumonia, the most common type in adults his age. The physician prescribed oral antibiotics and told Dennis to rest. He did not test for Legionella. The presentation was consistent with standard pneumonia. There was no specific reason to look further. By Monday morning, Dennis could not get out of bed. His temperature was 104.1. His breathing had become rapid and shallow. Margaret called 911. The paramedics found Dennis with an oxygen saturation of 84%, a level at which the brain begins to be affected. By the time they reached Atrium Health Carolina's medical center, he was confused and unable to answer questions clearly. They intubated him in the emergency department. The pulmonologist who took over Dennis's care had seen Legionnaire's disease before. Not often, but enough to recognize the progression, the speed of deterioration, the lower lobe consolidation, the failure of standard antibiotics to stop the decline. She ordered a Legionella urinary antigen test, a rapid test that detects Legionella pneumophila in urine within hours. The result came back positive. She switched Dennis immediately to targeted antibiotic therapy and asked Margaret one question: "Where do you think he was exposed?" Margaret ran through the obvious possibilities. They had not traveled. No hotel, no cooling tower near the house, no hot tub, no gym. The pulmonologist asked about the home. Anything that aerosolized water. Margaret mentioned the coffee maker. The pulmonologist nodded slowly. She explained what biofilm was. She explained how Legionella grows in warm, stagnant water. She explained that the mist released when you open a reservoir lid carries live bacteria directly into the lungs. She said she had seen this before, not frequently, but more than once. Dennis remained on the ventilator for 9 days. He developed a secondary infection, temporary kidney stress. On day 10, they extubated him. He was able to speak. His first words to Margaret were to ask about the coffee. She told him she had thrown the machine away. Here is what the manufacturers know and what they do not tell you. Coffee machine manufacturers are aware that water reservoirs can harbor bacterial growth. Some premium models include UV sterilization systems specifically designed to address this. Some include descaling reminders. A small number include cleaning instructions for the reservoir in the manual. But there is no federal regulation in the United States requiring coffee machine manufacturers to include Legionella warnings. There is no mandatory cleaning guidance on the machine itself. The FDA does not regulate coffee makers as potential Legionella exposure sources. The CDC's guidance on Legionella focuses on building water systems, cooling towers, hot tubs, and hospital water supplies. The household coffee machine is not on the list. The NSF International study that identified coffee machine reservoirs as major household bacteria hotspots was published in 2011. It received news coverage for approximately 1 week. It was not followed by any regulatory action, any manufacturer recall, any labeling requirement. The machine on your counter right now has no warning label telling you that the reservoir needs to be cleaned every 1 to 4 weeks. It has no label telling you that rinsing is not enough, that biofilm requires chemical disruption to remove, that the water sitting in your machine before it heats up can carry bacteria that your immune system at 65 cannot handle. Legionella is responsible for an estimated 10,000 to 18,000 hospitalizations as in the United States every year. It kills between 5% and 30% of the people it infects who do not receive prompt treatment. The vast majority of cases are never traced to a specific source because nobody tests the coffee machine. Dennis was one of the rare cases where someone thought to ask. That is the system failure. Dennis Crawford went home 22 days after that Monday morning. He walked out of Atrium Health Carolina's medical center on a Wednesday, Margaret beside him. He had lost 18 pounds. His pulmonologist told him the lower left lung might take 6 to 12 months to fully recover. He tired easily. Stairs were difficult for the first month. He told Margaret some weeks later that the strangest part was the coffee. Not the ventilator, not the ICU, the coffee. He had made it 10,000 times. It had been the first thing he did every day for 41 years. He makes it differently now. Before you leave, here is what I need you to know. The water reservoir of your coffee machine should be cleaned every 1 to 4 weeks. Not rinsed, cleaned. Fill the reservoir with equal parts white vinegar and water. Run a full brew cycle. Then run 2 full cycles with plain water to rinse. This breaks down biofilm and kills the bacteria living inside it. If your machine has a removable reservoir, take it out and wash it with warm, soapy water weekly. Let it dry completely before replacing it. Bacteria cannot establish a biofilm on a dry surface. The descaling reminders on most machines address calcium buildup, not bacteria. Descaling and disinfecting are not the same thing. Your machine may tell you when to descale. It will never tell you when to disinfect. This information exists in the manual of some machines. It is not on the outside of the machine. It is not on the reservoir. It is not something any doctor has ever mentioned at a routine appointment. 67 years old, retired biology teacher. He had spent his career explaining how bacteria worked. He had no idea it was growing in his coffee maker. Remember the moment he pressed the brew button on that Monday morning in October. The machine looked the same as it always had. The coffee smelled the same. The cup was warm in his hands. He had made it 10,000 times. Nothing had ever gone wrong. You have probably made coffee this morning. So had he. This is system failure. I will see you in the next waiting room.